Hello students, welcome to iRich. Today we are going to start a new topic which is the anatomy of pancreas. So let's get started. First we'll see the introductory point related to the pancreas. So first thing you have to keep in mind that it is the deepest retroperitoneal organ. Pancreas is the deepest retroperitoneal organ. Retroperitoneal means it is present behind the peritoneum. So it is the deepest retroperitoneal organ. It is set obliquely. The pancreas is set obliquely in the body, as you can appreciate here in this picture. It is set obliquely like in this direction. It is partly exocrine and partly endocrine. The pancreas is partly exocrine and partly endocrine. So that's why it is called as composite gland, because it function as both the exocrine as well as endocrine gland. So it is called as composite gland because of that. It is the important point that you have to keep in mind, that pancreas is called as composite gland because it performs both the functions, that is exocrine as well as endocrine functions. Here the exocrine parts secretes the digestive pancreatic enzymes or digestive pancreatic juices, which helps in the digestion. So exocrine part secretes digestive pancreatic juices, which helps in the digestion, and the endocrine part secretes the hormone. And which hormone? It is the insulin. Okay. So exocrine part secretes digestive pancreatic juices, and endocrine parts or secretes a hormone which is called as insulin. Okay. Moving on. Now the location of the pancreas. So the pancreas is more or less transversely across the posterior abdominal wall at L1 and L2. Okay, it is present at L1 and L2 at the posterior abdominal wall, and it is placed more or less transversely, means obliquely. Okay, as you can appreciate here, it is placed more or less transversely, and it is present across the posterior abdominal wall at the level of L1 and L2. The size of the pancreas is, it is 15 to 20 centimeter long. It is 2.5 to 3.8 centimeter broad. It is 1.2 to 1.8 centimeter thick. The weight of the pancreas is 90 gram, and its shape is J-shaped, or also called as it is retort shape. Again, important point that pancreas is a J-shaped and also a retort shape. Moving on. Now we'll see the features of pancreas. What are the parts of the pancreas that we'll be studying? The first one is the head. So pancreas consists of 4 main parts, which includes head, neck, body and tail, which you can appreciate here in this picture. This portion, this entire portion which is present towards the right side is called as the head of pancreas. Okay. Then after the head there is presence of neck of pancreas. So this is the neck of pancreas, this portion. Then there is presence of body of pancreas. So this portion is the body of pancreas. After the neck there is presence of body, and after that the end portion which is present at the left side is the tail of pancreas, which is related with the spleen. The tail of pancreas is related with the spleen or gets attached with the spleen. So pancreas has 4 main parts. First one is the head, next is the neck, then the body, and then finally the tail of the pancreas. In the head portion there is one more structure, is the uncinate process. In the head portion there is one more structure present, which is called as uncinate process. We'll understand it, what is exactly the uncinate process. So first one is the head. The head of the pancreas is actually the enlarged portion of the pancreas, the most enlarged portion, and it is flattened right end of the pancreas. As I have already told, that head portion is present towards the right side, and it is the flattened and most enlarged portion of the pancreas. It is situated within the C-shaped curve of the duodenum. As you can appreciate here, this is the duodenum. This is the first part of the duodenum. This is the first part of duodenum. This is the second part of duodenum. This is the third part, and this is the fourth part of duodenum. So, the pancreas is present within the C-shaped curve of duodenum. So, this is the C-shaped curve of duodenum, and the pancreas is present within this C-shaped curve. And the head of the pancreas has three borders. It has three borders. It has two surfaces and one process, which is the uncinate process. So, what are the three borders? Let me erase this. What are the three borders? The first one is the superior border. So, if this is the head of the pancreas, this portion is the head of the pancreas, then the superior border will be this border. So, this is the superior border of the head of the pancreas. Then there is inferior border, means this is the inferior border of the head of the pancreas, and then there is right lateral border, which is this border, which is the right lateral border present on the right lateral side of the pancreas, of the head of the pancreas. Okay, so these are the three borders. The first one is the superior, second is the inferior, and third is the right lateral border of the head of pancreas. Then the two surfaces includes the anterior and posterior surface. So, the portion which is present anteriorly is the anterior surface, and which is present posteriorly is the posterior surface. And the one process which is called as uncinate process. Okay. So, let us understand what is uncinate process. Uncinate process is actually a small portion which projects from the lower and left part, which projects from the lower and left part of the head towards the left. Okay, so it is a small portion at the lower portion of the head of the pancreas. So, this is the uncinate process which is directed towards the left. It is directed towards slightly towards the left. Okay. A small projection from the lower part of the head of the pancreas or the left side, which projects towards the left of the pancreas. So, this portion is the uncinate process of the head of the pancreas. Okay. Moving on, next one is the neck of the pancreas. Neck is actually a slightly constricted part. Neck of the pancreas is actually constricted part. It is not as much as the head or the other parts of the pancreas. So, the neck portion is this portion, the neck of the pancreas, and this is the slightly constricted part, and it is present between the head and body of the pancreas. So, this is the head of the pancreas and this will be the body of the pancreas, and between these two parts there is presence of neck of pancreas. Okay, and it is directed forward, upward and to the left. As you can appreciate here in this picture, the head is directed forward, it is forward, upward, slightly upward, and it is towards the left. So, forward, upward and left. And the neck has two surfaces, anterior and posterior surface. The anterior present anteriorly, the surface which is present anteriorly is the anterior surface, and one which is present posteriorly is the posterior surface. Moving next, we will see the body of pancreas. So, body of pancreas is actually elongated part. It extends from the neck to the tail. So, we have seen that this portion is the neck of pancreas, neck of pancreas. This portion is the tail of pancreas, and the portion which is present in between these two parts is actually the body of pancreas. Okay. It passes towards the left with a slight upward and backward inclination. So, body of pancreas is passing towards the left with slightly upward and backward inclination like this. Okay. So, in this way the body is present in the body. It is present with slightly upward and backward inclination towards the left. It is triangular in cross section. So, body of pancreas is actually triangular in cross section. Let me erase this. Yeah. Body of pancreas is actually triangular in cross section. So, that means it has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. So, 3 borders include anterior, superior and inferior border. So, if this portion is the body of pancreas. So, there is one anterior border which is present here. So, this will be the anterior border. Then there is superior border which is here, the superior border, and then there is inferior border which is here. This is the inferior border. And if we see in a triangular cross section, so there are 3 surfaces also, the anterior, posterior and inferior surface. So, this will be the anterior surface, this will be the posterior surface, and then there will be a inferior surface. Okay. And there is also presence of one structure which is called as tuber omental. Tuber omental is a part which projects upward beyond the rest of the superior border, little left to the neck. So, let us understand it here. This is the superior border. Firstly, this is the body and this is the superior border of body of pancreas. So, the tuber omental is a small projection upward beyond the rest of the superior surface, just left to the neck. So, if this is the neck of pancreas, so just left to the neck, around here there is small projection slightly upward from the rest of the superior border, and this projection is called as tuber omental. This projection is called as tuber omental. Okay. Again, important point that you have to keep in mind. So, we have seen body is actually triangular in cross section, and because of that it has 3 borders which is anterior, superior and inferior. It has 3 surfaces which is anterior, posterior and inferior, and also a structure called tuber omental. Then last part is the tail of pancreas. It is actually the left end of the pancreas and it lies in the lieno-renal ligament together with the splenic vessels. As I have already told, that tail lies related with the spleen, or it lies very close to the spleen, and it lies in this lieno-renal ligament, which is also called as spleno-renal ligament, and this is the ligament which joins the spleen with the kidney. That is why it is called as spleno-renal or lieno-renal ligament. And in this ligament, the tail of pancreas is present along with the splenic vessel. As you can appreciate here in this picture, this is the lieno-renal ligament and there is presence of tail of pancreas. This is the tail of pancreas along with the splenic vessels or splenic artery. It comes in contact with the lower part of the gastric surface of the spleen. So, this lieno-renal ligament or the tail of the pancreas come in contact with the gastric surface of the spleen. Okay, this is the point you have to keep in mind. So, that is all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss the remaining part of the pancreas. Until then, keep reading and don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Thank you for watching this video.